Relationship psychology is at play as soon as there are two or more people in the room. And what I found fascinating when I started my own journey into how people tick was the way that relationships are actually formed. I have a model which I call the 4 R's. So what are the 4 R's? Well, rapport, relationship, respect, result. Now you may be familiar with the fight, flight or freeze responses. These primal reactions are still programmed, hardwired if you will, deep within our subconscious, so that when we meet someone for the first time, we have a deeply rooted set of questions being asked of that situation. Do I kill you before you kill me and possibly eat you? Do I turn and run to escape what I perceive as a dangerous situation? Do I simply ignore you or freeze or even play dead in the hopes that you'll get bored and move on? So with all that primal stuff in mind, let's look at the 4 R's and take each one briefly in turn. The first R was rapport. Now this is the phase where my primal reactions are to the fore. Basically, I'm working out, do I like you or don't I? And basically you're doing the same to me. At a primal level, we're asking ourselves whether you're my next meal, whether I'm your dinner, or whether we should both have babies together. And it's in this first meeting that it makes sense, literally, that we judge this new person in front of us with our senses. Firstly, and usually, we look at each other. Are you similar to me? Do you remind me of someone I know and like? Do you look familiar in any way? In fact, the fewer deviations from the familiar, the better for our early relationship. With our visual judgment satisfied, we're likely to move to our secondary sense, which is probably going to be that of hearing. Similar questions are asked of our subconscious. Do you sound familiar? Is your noise, your speech, comforting, familiar, or discordant and different to mine? Are you too loud for me? Too soft for me? Is your accent or language acceptable to my own comfort zone? Now, remember, all this happens unconsciously and extremely quickly. Prehistoric humans would not have survived long if they'd taken their time in judging others. This stuff is almost instantaneous. So, the other person looks okay. The other person sounds okay. Now, in many greetings or first meetings, a component is called kinesthetics. It's about the sense of feeling. Do you grab my hand and crush it? Or is the proffered hand more of a limp lettuce? Is your body language intimidating or non-threatening? Do you add to a handshake by clasping my arm or perhaps even my shoulder? Is that okay with me or not? Does this person feel okay? Now, the other two senses are less important than they used to be. Whilst pheromones will inform our sense of smell, we rarely sniff someone to find out whether we like them. Although, let's face it, you must have seen 2 dogs meet. Yeah, they use their sense of smell as their primary judgment, but not such a good idea between 2 humans, as you might imagine. And as for tasting someone, licking someone to see if they taste comfortable, that's almost certainly a social no-no, not for the first time you meet someone anyway. So during the rapport building phase, the evolved humans will probably ask each other, literally, inane questions, the answers to which hold no huge significance. Things like, have you come far today? Or, oh, how do you know the hosts? Or where did you get that bow tie? Or hasn't the weather been atrocious? We're making pleasantries, pleasant noises at each other to test whether this person is a friend or a foe. What we're actually doing is seeking elements of similarity or comfortable and simple differences. As our first R, rapport, builds, so does something else. Simply put, we become more informed about each other, and in doing so, we're laying down the ingredients of the next step, the next R, especially if our rapport building session survives a potential interruption or distraction. Our next R, we could say now we have a fledgling relationship. Let's learn about the other 3 R's in the next lecture.